Hello, 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 most beautiful stars. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is an offshoot live stream about Three Eye Atlas. So, I think a few weeks ago, during one of the Hangout with Courtney live streams, somebody asked about Three Eye Atlas, and at that time, and still even other than what's going to be said today, I didn't know much. I don't watch too many things about, well, really anything. Um, which, beloveds, the reason for that is actually going to be at the end of this video. So, if you are live in the chat, I will try to say hello to you and thank you all for coming. I will say it is the middle of December of 2025. I am pretty exhausted. I'm already in my pajamas, but I'm with you at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this happy Friday to talk about what the Akashic said for Three Eye Atlas. So I am going to retell what they said, give you whatever information came forth in the exact way that it happened, as in the communication I had with the Akashic. Um, and the Akashic is not my higher self or my guides. It is its own thing. So you might refer to it as the great database of all past, present, and future. I call it the 0 point of creation. It's where all infinite potentialities that ever were and will ever be are. So um, let's go into it. And I'm going to break it down and tell you exactly how this happened or how the conversation went. So this past week, I had a client that I called who might end up in the chat. She knows that I'm picking on her. She had a reading at noon one day that I'm ready. I'm in the Akashic. I call her and no answer. She forgot that she had a reading that day. That's fine. It is so December. Everybody's running. So after I gave about 10 minutes and there was no answer, I was like, "Okay, Akashic, I'm gonna keep going on with my life, with my day." And they said, "Stop." And I went, "Oh, why?" Like, I need to do things. And they said, "Don't you have questions to ask us?" And I said, "No. I don't need to know anything right now. I'm busy." And they said, "Courtney, don't you have questions to ask us?" And I said, I don't have the time to write down the 2026 yearly Akashic message right now. So no, I don't. And they said, "What about Three Eye Atlas? You told people you were going to do that." So they politely nudged me and reminded me that I told people that I would ask them. Yep, that's what they do. They remind me of a lot of things. So that's how this began. Is I it was not even on my radar. And they stopped me and said, "No, no, no, before you go, you told others you were going to do this. Have accountability, write it down." Which unfortunately, I didn't have any paper near me. And so all of this ended up being typed on my phone, which I had never done before, and it was very uncomfortable. Um, but I had to do it that way. So, good to see you, Seeker. Good to see you, Happy Hippie. Good to see you, Lucky Stone 888. So, oh, and somebody just said it's the 1212 portal. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's true. It is 1212. All right. So, I said, "Okay, what's up with the Rai Atlas? Lay it on me." And they said, first they said, "Well, it's the mothership." And I went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa." Like, that means a lot to us humans, right? Like, you might have a different, idea of what that means. They said, "Well, it's the mothership." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by mothership? Like ship as in aliens?" And they said, "No, that's not what that means." Right. So, what that means to them, not us. Us, we think of Star Wars and all sorts of things, not to them. So their term mothership, as in something that is shipped. We're all shipping boxes right now. Shipments, right? Ship. That and then they and I said, "Okay, why mothership?" And they said, "Because Three Eye Atlas is full of um what we would consider alien organisms. Half are botanical and half are like genome, meaning like DNA sort of genome material, all new biologicals." And so I went, "Okay." And they showed me the it's glowing blue, definitely because more of, it's really enjoying the sun, our sun, okay, and the light coming off of it. It's really enjoying it, and it's making these biologicals grow even more and multiply even more, right? So why they refer to it as the mothership, quote unquote, is because they said, "This has happened numerous times. How do you think you have oak trees? How do you think you have your biology? How do you think you have frogs?" And they just started listing all this natural things to our nature, right? All the biology of the world, right? It has been theorized that maybe this came through comets, these new kind of cellular microscopic something comes and hits and then slowly grows and morphs and evolves here on Earth. Same concept. So apparently, the Akashic refers to the comets that have done that in the past as to why we have lizards, snakes, oak trees, palm trees, us. The reasons why we have these things, in a lot of ways, us, because we are carbon bodies, we are biological beings, just the same as everything else here. There's a big backstory to that that we're not going to go into, but this has happened a few times, and we're used to it. Okay, it's just been a very long time since a comet either hit with some kind of biologicals attached to it, or what they said is happening now is that and so sorry, before I continue, I do want to say when they showed me it and I said it really like the sun, it was as if it was as if it's a like a rock formation, but also kind of like its own living entity because of these two, well, they're not two, there's multiple different kinds of botanical, meaning plants, new plants, and these other more genome, maybe DNA type of biologics that at the cellular level that are now very much growing, and they're growing with these beautiful blue tints to it. That's how it kinda is seen, which also makes a lot well, makes sense to me. We're not gonna get into that either, I'm just going to talk about what they said. Um, so they said as of right now no, actually, I asked a question after they showed me that, and we talked about it. Um, I said, "Is this like the Hopi prophecy, like the blue star Kachina?" Like, I did ask that question, um, because some of you might know that Stars of Morning Light, the logo is blue for that, right? And they said, "No." This is how they responded. So I asked that question, "Is this the blue star Kachina of the Hopi prophecy. Because a lot of the readings lately have been for the yearly messages, which I'm going to tell you right now. 2026 yearly live stream Akashic message is going to be on December 26th at noon. That's when I'm doing it, folks. They said, this is how they responded. Their words, when I asked them if this is the blue star, their words were, no, it's like Thor's hammer, only hits when provoked. So I went, whoa, you just you just referred this to Thor's hammer. Is it gonna be would it be like that magnitude if it hit? And they said, oh, if this hit, it'd be way worse than Thor's hammer. And I went, okay. And I will say, beloveds, that's at that time that I went, I need to be writing this down. And I looked and I had no paper next to me, which is very odd. And they said, yeah, you should be writing this down. Use your phone that's next to you. And I went, ooh, I don't like that. But I did it anyways. No, it's not going to hit. This is like Thor's hammer. It only hits when provoked. We're going to get into it, folks, because that's going to be what they really were emphasizing at the end. What is their definition of provoked? See, words within the Akashic and our understanding different at times, right? As in, they are calling this the mothership, as in, it's going to deliver and drop some stuff off to you. As in, this has happened all the times before. It's kind of like how we're all here, mother. So, wow. Um, so I went, whoa, you just said it's like Thor's hammer. Would it be like that magnitude? And they said, oh, it would be a whole lot worse than Thor's hammer. Like Thor's hammer is nothing compared to what this would be if it hit. So then I said, okay, wait a minute. You're telling me right now it's not going to hit. Is that accurate? You can't tell me Thor's hammer and then you can't, like what's going on? And they said, right now. So as of December, I did this on Wednesday, December 10th of 2025. I talked to him. So as of right now, no, it's not going to hit. It's going to apparently fly by and it's going to be releasing stuff as it's flying through all these different locations. I think it's by Jupiter or something right now. It's going to fly by, and yes, some of those biological cellular molecules, whatever it is, will be released and that will enter into our atmosphere and therefore also enter into our earth. Now, so I had a discussion with them about that, because that is what they're telling me is that is where we are right now. Things can change though. Right now, that is the game plan. That is what they're predicting. That some of those microscopic organisms, those alien organisms will come into our atmosphere, get into our earth and slowly change things over time, depending on how much is released and in what locations, right? And I do have to say that I said, well, and then they said, and then you will have to live out the cause and effect of that. Okay, awesome, thanks. So then I said, so what's the cause and effect of that? And they said, with everything else on this planet, there will be stuff that is released that is harmful. That is harmful for us. And then the cure is also right along with it. Same as how this earth operates. Like if I God forbid, if I got, bit by, like, a brown recluse, because they're everywhere where I live, outside in my own yard, I have weeds growing that if I chop it up and make a paste out of it and put it on that bite, I'm gonna do pretty damn well. I'm gonna be okay. That's the natural order of all things. There's the curse and the blessings. There's the sickness and the cure. That is the natural balance of all things here, really everywhere. So they did say that there's biologicals there that are gonna be harmful, but along with the balance that is the cure. But then I said, "Well, okay, that's beautiful. We're probably looking more at, like, the botanicals of it, right? The plant-based stuff, or maybe viruses that are attached to the plants, what have you, da, da, da." I said, "You spoke about, like, genome, as in, like, maybe DNA, as in affect the human body, as in change over time, the cause and effect of that." I said, "What are we talking about here?" And they said there are things on there on the 3-1 atlas that if it is released into our atmosphere and into the earth, eventually over time it can either open what is dormant in humans or start, yes, shifting and changing our DNA. And this is not about crystalline beings. The images that were given to me were of, kind of like the old stories, the Greek tales, fantasies, all sorts of old stories where, it's even reported Moses had horns. People that have, animal, features to them. Could be a human with horns, it could be, heck, my own so, some of you might not know this, but I had a polyonic, cyst at the end of my tailbone that got horribly infected once, lots of pain because it was the end of my tailbone, and that pain shot up all the nerves of my spine. I had to get it removed. My father, I guess, also had one. And when I after the long, process and then final surgery, the doctor said, this is we remove these, because we don't need them anymore, but this is the representation from people that had tails." And I went, "You're telling me I had a tail, doc?" And he was like, "Yes, you had a tail. It just never fully formed." And I was like, "Damn, I wanted my tail." Things like that. People with tails, horns, manadors, or what have you. Think fantasy, right? For many of us humans, so I gave my personal story here to give representation that many of us humans have things like that within us that are dormant, and or our DNA can evolve into that. There's the cutest little movie or TV show on Netflix called Sweet Tooth, about how a virus, like, hit the earth, was killing a bunch of the adults, but then the babies that were born at the time were, like, half human, half animal, they had animal features to them, and they were the ones that are, like, saving the world. It's such a cute, endearing show, but maybe kinda think of something like that, like, these biologicals would that's what they told me, that it would be more of it either awakens DNA within us that is dormant from long, long, long ago when we did have more half human, half animal aspects, or if that particular DNA strand never did, there's an opportunity chance that it might. Okay. So it wasn't, but they also did say, yes, there are viruses there as well that could be harmful. But the cure is also then being dropped along with it. So, how do y'all feel about that so far? We're not even we're not even I mean, that was a big chunk of it. How are we doing? I'm looking at the chat just to just kinda see how people are doing with this. Yeah. Okay. Robin, Happy Hippie says, "Nothing surprises me anymore." Exactly. Exactly. So this has always been this is actually pretty natural for us. It's just honestly, beloveds, I this is me talking within my memory. I don't know if something like this, to this size, the scale that the potential's there. I'm not saying it's going to be, but the potential's there. I don't think we've had that kind of, new introduction of some kind of possible species that could grow, right, on the planet. I don't think we've had that for I don't even know if we've had it in this cycle, to tell you the truth. I don't know if we have. So this is kinda big. But at the same time, we have no idea, neither did the Akashic, as to, like, how much is going to drop. How much is going to get into our atmosphere and land on the planet? How much? The Akasha can't even tell us that because that's not so let's go into what they can why they said, like, Thor's hammer. So, they leave that with and then all you humans will have to live out the cause and effect of it. Okay, cool, thanks. Thanks. Which is what we do anyways. So what else are we gonna do? We're gonna live out the cause and effect. So I then clarified, I said, "So you are telling me it is not going to hit the earth? Because you just mentioned right before you went into all that, as in Thor's hammer, I need to be very clear. Is it going to hit the earth?" And then they said, and this is kind of the end of it, folks, because this is going to be the tricky part that many humans might struggle with more so than what I just said. Um, they said right now it's or they said it's a 92% that it'll hit the earth. And I just stopped and I went, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're telling me 92% that it'll hit the earth? You just told me that it's not going to hit the earth, it's just going to drop stuff." And they said, "Well, then you brought up Thor's hammer again, and if it is provoked, then it goes up to 92%, Courtney, that it will hit the earth." So I went, "Okay, so what do you mean by provoked?" Right? See, this is why if you ever get a private reading from me, I have to be in silence sometimes because their words and our words are not necessarily the same representation, same meanings. So I said, "What do you mean by provoked?" And they said, "Courtney, you understand this. Provoked is you're calling to it. You're nudging at it. You're paying attention to it. You're thinking about it. You're calling it out." And I went, "Okay." And they went, "Right now, um, we don't think it's going to hit Earth. It is going to drop some stuff and fly right past you guys." And I went, "Oh, good." And they said, "But and they said, "Right now, that's at 92%." And I went, wait a minute, Akashic. You just said it's at 92% that it won't. And then you said if it's provoked, it becomes 92% that it will." I said, "Which is it?" And they said, "It's one and the same." And then they said, "Courtney, you do understand this, but you're going to have to explain it to others." And they said, "It is all based on the human viewpoint and the duality of the 92%. And I went, "God Okay. So, if we just allow it to be, if we just allow 31 Atlas to just do whatever it's gonna do and not keep taking all the pictures of it and not keep obsessing about it and talking about it and looking up in the sky and calling out to it and doing what all the stuff we're doing, remote viewing into it. If we would just stop doing that, well, then it's just going to fly by. And yeah, we're going to get some garbage. We're going to get some stuff, some really good for us, some probably not so good for us. That's how it goes. But provoked, the talking about it, the analyzing it, the taking all the images of it, the satellites near it, all this stuff, all this stuff. What they wanted me to explain to everyone. And so I'm going to try to put it in very simple terms. Think of the law of attraction. Most people, whatever they think about the law of attraction, it is what we do. It's why Hermetics will say all is mental. We attract what we're thinking about. And you could see it as our bodies are like beautiful batteries that get full of great energy from the sun, and our mind is like a huge magnet that is then being generated by the lovely energy within us. Our mind is this huge magnet, okay? And that's how the law of attraction works. What you think about will come to you because you're a magnet, that mental, beautiful magnet. Okay. Now imagine if, like, everybody from it's across the board, everybody's watching this thing, everybody's thinking about this thing, everybody's talking about this thing, right? And the closer it gets, because right now, like I said, I think it's around Jupiter. I chimed into something for about 2 minutes this morning to be like, "Well, where is it? I should probably know where that is what that is." I think it's at somewhere around Jupiter. The closer it gets, what do you think the humans are gonna do more? They're gonna be talking about it, thinking about it. All the humans, because oh my goodness, is this the end of the world? Magnets. That is what they mean by provoke it. That is what they mean. Kinda like if a car drives past your house every day, and every day you kinda jump in the road to be like, "Hi, neighbor, hi." And every day they don't bother to stop, they just go around you, every day. Well, at some point at some point, when you jump out in the road to say, "Hi, neighbor," it's gonna hit you. Because it's just done and you called it to do so in the first place. So, as of December 10th, when I got this, it was just going to fly by and drop some shit off. Okay. And then we're going to live through that cause and effect. And who knows? Maybe that's awesome. Maybe we need it. Who knows? And it would be over time anyways. But the more we think about it and talk about it and share about it and explore it and talk about the possibility if it's going to hit us. Beautiful mental magnets as a collective. Well, then that 92% of no, it's not. It's like Thor's hammer. It only hits when it's provoked. No, it's not. It's just going to do a drive-by. It's just going to fly by. That 92% of current can easily flip to 92%. Oh, it's going to hit. Because of the world of duality. The same no the same yes. And it's all based on how we're viewing things and what we're doing and what we're thinking about. Now, beloveds, I will say what they are wanting me to explain to you about that relates to everything. Relates to everything. The more we scream we don't want war, the more we get it because it's what we're focusing on. The more we whatever we focus on, us beautiful magnets provokes and we receive. Nudges enough, right? This is actually how the law of attraction works. But we tend to put the law of attraction into all the good stuff, all the great things that I want to attract. Most people don't think about, oh man, I'm attracting all this crap because we're thinking about it. So we gotta, the closer it gets, we just gotta go, okay, let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. Now, if it does hit though, folks, because then I did have to ask. I was like, "Oh, shit. Oh, god. Okay." Because like, awesome, right? Because it's not I mean, like, 30 people might watch this video. Anyways, so if the whole world continues to focus, which right now it's not the whole world, which is awesome, but, I mean, uh so many of the movies and the shows that have come out that came out, in the past 10 years, we're in a lot of ways trying to prepare people for this and probably provoke them subconsciously to, yes, focus on that happening. You know, uh, so the closer it gets, if everybody starts paying attention, much more of everybody, it can flip to 92% that, yeah, it'll hit. Now, and so then I did ask, I said, and if it hits, like if it hits the earth, if that big old blue rock hits the earth, like Thor's hammer, what? And they said, if it does hit, the world will not know itself ever again as it was. Meaning that for I guys, I don't even know if we would be here. I mean, I mean, what they showed me was, will the earth repair eventually? Yeah, but everybody listening right now, yeah, we probably wouldn't be here. So, because I mean, it would be down to just damn near fragments of the earth kind of surviving, and then we do it again. We do it again. So my suggestion here is to live your life. Live your life in joy. Live your life and try not to focus on everything that comes through your feed. Live your life. Focus on, because you're listening to this, hopefully, focus on like actually it just flies by and we get some maybe cool new plants. Focus on that. Opposed to what if it hits? Because that is the dialogue that has started. And so if that persists, that's provoking it. That is you beautiful magnets not knowing how powerful you are as a collective. And so I, that's what I got for you folks. I don't really know what to say to that. That's what I have. That's how fast we as a collective can shift everything, by the way. If 92% of it right now is no, it's not going to hit. But if everybody gets on the same train of, oh, it's going to hit us and thinking about it and focusing on it, it can flip to 92%. That's going to happen. That's the outcome. Beloveds, think about that in all things. In all things. And that is how fast a collective can operate. It can operate that fast, especially in the world of duality. We can swing from one side vast to the next within days, weeks of something. Now, do I think that's going to happen anytime soon? Because I did ask that. I said, "How far?" Like, I think I asked this before the whole like 92% thing came up, and watch our viewpoints, right? Let it be. Let it just do its thing. Let it just do its thing. We don't have to we don't have to bombard it with satellites. Oh, goodness. Um, I I did ask at some point, shoot, did I just miss it? Because I didn't write this part down. I know that I asked, oh, how far? Like, what's my time frame here, folks? Akashic, like, well, that's also part of kind of this, what side are we on? Are we on the, is it just gonna fly by, or is it on the, it's gonna hit? Because that changes all the energy. So this comet wants to just fly by. It wants to do its thing. It's got its own energy and it's massive, guys. It's massive. That I will tell you. It's massive. No wonder it's called the mothership. It's huge. So it's got its own growing energy, its own field of energy. It's got its own. So oftentimes if something like magnetic is happening, it's going to elongate the time frame because there's kind of a push-pull. There's a push-pull because it does not want to hit us. This is not meant to hit us. This is not the Hopi prophecy. This is not designed to do that. That's not what it's supposed to do. So if it is going to just fly by, we're looking at a shorter time frame, okay? The next few months. If it turns into the humans are turning this into a push-pull magnetism, right? This kind of magnetism aspect, then that elongates the time frame. And so I asked, like, "Well, if that was gonna happen, do we have some time?" And they said, "Yeah, we have some time." So I wanted I that came into my memory just now because I did ask, even though I didn't write that down, in hopes to give some reassurance that even if you all and myself perceive and witness, oh man, the humans are doing exactly what humans do, um, there will be time that we could possibly reverse that if we just settle settle it. But the problem with that is the more it's talked about in reference to hitting us, the more fear it will invoke in humans, and then the obsession starts. If you're in fear, you're usually obsessing. I mean, a great amount of fear, it becomes an obsession, instead of laying it down. But there would be time for more sound voices to hopefully come in and uh, honestly, I wanna use the word, like, infiltrate that fear enough to calm the magnetism. I there would be I'm saying it's a there's a potentiality that that could happen. There's actually multiple potentialities within this whole, three-eye atlas thing, um, which that name I didn't even ask them about that name, but that name kinda that name. So anyways, um, so there's a few different potentialities, but all the potentialities are kind of those two either outcomes. Different variations, right? Different variations, but those are kind of the two main, you know, storylines that we're rolling with. So do with that as you may. clearly they wanted me to put this out there, and, because they reminded me I said I would do it, and clearly I like to have integrity, so I what do we do with that? We do as I mean, guys, I don't pay attention to all this stuff. I don't know. I live my life, and I don't allow what is out there in the news, what is out there in the sky, what is out there to really influence me. Um, I do wanna say I had a brilliant, beautiful, um, person when there was a gathering at my house in September, and this older woman we've got 15, 20 years on she's got about 15, 20 years on me, and we were talking about watching the news, and she very much wanted to try to get away from watching the news, and she would kinda ebb and flow with it, right? But we were talking about this, and she said with others around, she said that she feels that her generation, more closer to maybe the boomers, um, that they feel a sense of obligation to watch the news. And I thought that was brilliant. It was the exact word that I was looking for, that I couldn't pinpoint. And then when you think of, and this is not, the different generations are it is a thing. It is because it's the energies and the influences of a particular group of people at a particular time. And it makes perfect good sense to me that more of the boomers really feel obligated to watch the news and know what's going on with everything. But it's because of the time they grew up. I mean, that is the age of when they were growing up. It was, "Well, I gotta make it home before the evening news," right? Everybody watched the news together. It was very important to stay because many of them they remember not even having a TV, so they would get the news on the radio, and then all of a sudden TV happened, and you gotta make it home before evening news, and then it slowly shifted and changed. Once it got to, like, my generation, I think it's easier for us to lay down, like, the social media, the news, what is going on, and I'm not speaking for everyone, but it's a little bit easier for at least my generation because by the time cable came into play, you really only had maybe 3 or 4 or 5 stations, right? Networks, and then all the rest was really news. I mean, we were the generation that news was 24/7, nonstop. So we then adopted, "Well, if I don't see it today, I'll see it tomorrow. It's not like it's never gonna end. The news never ends. It's always going to be there." So it's easier for us to not feel obligated. And then the younger generations after that with more of the social medias and the feeds and misinformation and all this stuff. Why I bring this up is because we all have our own take on to what degree do I engage in the dialogue, in the news, in the media, in the different opinions, the podcasts. We all have a different degree of it. In regards to this, that is the only suggestion that I have, is to maybe not listen to every single podcast, every single news, every single BBS, what have you, just lay it down. Lay it down so it can do its job and just fly on by and drop off. I will tell you, like I said, there's pluses and minuses. Some of those pluses we need. So maybe we can just lay down when all the chatter really starts becoming more so. And so we don't provoke and be little magnets to say, "Hey, come to us. We wanna know what you are." It's not like it's got a a foot pedal to stop it, right? We need to, you know but I do wanna give a shout out to, Teresa because she's the one who said that at the gathering, and it summed it all up for me. It was such the perfect word, as in feeling obligated to watch the news, and I took that in sincerely, and it helped me to understand so many people in my life, and so I highly appreciated that. Alright. Yeah, Robin just said, "Fortunately, less and less people are watching the news." I think we all have to have our own boundaries, degrees as to what we take in, what we release, and what we focus on. So what I'm trying to say is don't focus on this. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't focus on it. Well, beloveds, that is what they told me. So, um, um kind of two storylines with multiple potentialities, which is how this goes for us often. So I'll be curious. Let me know in in the comments below, um, what you think about like these new, cellular, botanical genome, alien organisms. That they did use the words alien organisms, of course, when I was like, what do you mean mothership? So let me know what you think about that. Um, in the comments below, and there you go. Yeah, see, it's Robin said, "It's okay, Courtney, it'll all be okay." I trust. I trust. Yeah, yes, it will. It is a very exciting time to be alive. It's a most exciting time to be alive. I am so honored and happy that myself and all of you chose to be here. Yeah, Robin said, "I know you trust." Yeah, I do trust. Um, yeah, yes, life will be interesting. It will. So, beloveds, that's my sound off. Let me remind everybody that on December 26th, so the day after Christmas, that Friday at noon Eastern Time, that is when I'm going to go over the yearly Akashic message for 2026. I've been giving out little bits here and there, but let's find out what the Akashic says 2026 is going to be about. That is gonna happen that Friday after Christmas, right at noon. Have lunch with me or have breakfast with me if you're on the West Coast. So, good blessings to you all. Oh, and I also wanna mention, beloveds, I am trying to find people with our everyone's busy schedules right now to record a new Matrix Living episode. It will happen because I trust. It will happen. Zigzagzilla said that he would get back to me. Um, we are working on it, folks. So thank you for your patience. A new Matrix Living episode will be happening at least once this month. It's not so easy to find people that are willing to be on a camera, folks. It's not the easiest. So I love you all dearly. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. And lay it all down, let things fly by, and you do you, because you are awesome. Bye, folks.